What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talk About Transformers. This week we'll be taking a look at the studio series Sentinel Prime from Dark of the Moon. I ended up deciding to sell him to my friend John because he needed a replacement, and so I'm shooting this review and then he'll be off to my friend John, so we'll get him out of the way. Taking a look at the vehicle mode, it's definitely I want to say it's a Rosenbauer, something like that, fire truck. As far as I know, it's what you would get at an airport to put fires out on big old planes. You've got the front, lots of molded detail, but not a lot of paint as far as detail work goes. Most of the paint on this guy is color correction. You do have the white stripe, and it's there, you can see it pretty good. There's a painted silver R that you kind of lose in the lines depending on the angle. You've got a 316 and another silver R. In these, it's almost like one of them little cards where you flip it up and flip it down and you got a couple of different images. Then at the back you got a skew, cat hair or dog hair not included, his toes poking out. And on the other side you got the same details. On the top, just molded stuff, no paint. And then on the bottom, this kind of looks trucky, and you can kind of see his waist, but not a whole lot of visible robot stuff down here. His accessories are on him, so we're not going to go into those right now. We'll go ahead and get right into the size comparisons. First, we've got our Rubik's Cube. We've got the Gormagala statue right there. Maybe he's on fire and Sentinel's gonna put him out. We've got our masterpiece movie Bug. And lastly, we've got Friday's review, another fire truck, coincidentally, Kingdom Voyager class Inferno. You can see here that Inferno is a very small fire truck compared to Sentinel Prime. But there you have it with the comparisons. I suppose if you want to, you could say he's got vehicle articulation to go over, and that's that you can unpeg this hose and angle it up and down, and it bends for transformation if you want to use that. So it thoops into place, it snaps into place. So that's pretty much it. So I'll go ahead and we'll get into transformation. Alright, starting in on this guy's transformation, we're going to pull these panels out. They've got 2 tabs, 2 slots, and then you can go ahead and fold the little handle out, set it down, flip them around, pull it out, fold the handle out, set it down, and then we'll go ahead and grab him back here by these bars and just detach the top of the truck from the bottom, and there you've got his legs. We can go ahead and transform these now. We will fold this panel, well, let's go ahead and split them. Fold this panel down, pull his front of his leg up through, and you're going to bend his knee to do that. Then once you rotate this out of the way for clearance, you can snap that panel down, rotate the whole assembly, and then his leg will snap together. There is a tab below his foot, a slot in the leg. Let's put that together, and then for this part you're going to fold. There's a tab here on this panel. It's going to plug into his foot. Rotate this. you've got the tab and the slot, and that goes in. Same thing on the other leg. So we'll go ahead and fold that out and pull his foot out of there. Oh, I snapped it off. Just a friction hinge. No damage done. Oops. Unless you plug it back in upside down. There's legs up. Get that out of the way. Fold that over. Rotate. Plug. Plug. Rotate. Plug. And then the last thing you do on his legs, if you want to, not a big deal, just get your nail up under here and pull the hip skirts out. And we're going to go ahead and raise our camera up because he gets pretty tall. See if that's good enough. That should be fine. Alright, so what we're going to do, these weren't plugged in properly when I transformed them last. Okay, there. What we're going to do is we're going to unpeg his arms. His hands are going around little posts on these panels, and you've got the one tab inside of the other, so go ahead and pull this arm out first, and then it's going to untab from the top. Get a little tab there, and then rotate it out, and then we'll do it with the other arm. So we'll pull the arm down, untab it, rotate it out. Now, it's very important when you're going back to truck mode, if you want the truck to line up properly, because this is all going to fold up like this, you want to make sure that when you're putting it back, you get this pushed straight as possible. You don't want it bumped out like this. If you have it like this, where it's bumped out, it's going to cause you issues. So make sure you push it straight before you tab it back in. That'll help you line up the legs going back to vehicle mode. Pro tip. Alright, so we're just going to fold those out to the side. We're going to angle this down. We can get it in frame. We're going to angle this down and go ahead and unthoop that, and there's a tab that you'll just push in, and you're going to want to get your thumb up under here, get your thumbnail under this panel, and pop it up to unhinge the front, and all that's going to come down. You're going to push the little mirrors in and clip this out, and then we're going to rotate this whole panel around. This section here will fold down while you're lifting the head panel up, and you've got tabs and slots so you can plug these door sections in, and then you can go ahead and push his waist up into place. So everything's so far so good. I'm going to go ahead and raise up a little more. So we're working on his torso now. Go ahead and since we straightened this out, you can fold this in and fold this up, and it'll let you have a little bit of a swivel in the waist. But if you want to do it the correct way that I think it should be done, this folds back and there's a tab here. It's going to go up in a slot here, then separate the back, and there is a tab here that's going to go into a slot here and locks all that into place, and then just bring these back in and they'll rest up against that. So there's the back all done. The waist is coming undone a little bit. There we go. You've got a tab here for a slot there, so pull these forwards on the double hinge until they tab in. Tab in. There you go. And then you've got the two tabs here and slots, and there's his chest. Rotate the arms down, pull the shoulder armor up, and that's him in his robot mode. We'll go ahead and take a look at the details. Give him his articulation. I'll go through, and then we'll put his weapons in his hands and get some size comparisons in. So zooming on in, we're not raised quite enough. He's got, I want to say the head is molded to that gunmetal, and then it's painted the red. The face is, I want to say it's painted a different silver color, and the eyes are blue paint. Chest has got red and silver painted details. The waist has got red paint. The legs have red paint. Like I said, a lot of the paint on this guy is more color correction than it is actual detail paint, because the legs are molded in this and they've been painted red on the front. His arms, again, just red paint for color correction. And then going up his back, it's just the back of the truck with the details from the truck. So yeah, the only real detail paint on this guy that's not color correction is his face. The rest of it is pretty much color correction. I guess you could say the silver bits on the chest are detail paint too, but for the most part, color correction. His head can turn side to side. The beard and his helmet kind of starts getting in the way of this shoulders, collar stuff, so you can't do a 360. You can look up a little, look down a little. No real tilting. You can tilt it, but it just kind of bounces back, so limited head articulation. You can do a full 360 at the shoulder. He can go out 90 degrees. You can rotate his bicep just above the elbow. His elbow will go a little over 90 degrees. And then he does have a wrist swivel here. A little tight on mine, tighter than I can rotate with one hand anyway. As far as his legs go, we'll go ahead and just get this folded out of the way so you can see the full extent of his leg. But just know that with all that stuff, it's not really going back. So it'll go forward all the way. It'll go back all the way with all that stuff out of the way, and it'll go up to the side. That'll push that skirt armor in, and depending on how tight or how loose it is, it might come back out on its own, and it might not. Mine's being good right now though, so go ahead and fold this all back into place and show you what his leg articulation back looks like with all that. Yeah, not a big surprise. And then he's got a swivel at the thigh just above the knee. His knee goes about 90 degrees. He's got no foot articulation unless you count the toe flap for transformation. So that's his articulation in a nutshell. As far as these two bits go, you can put them in his hands because the back sides are a sword. You plug this one up in the bottom, you plug this one through the top, and he gets his sword from the movie. Alternatively, I found a place to store this along with my brother. One of us found this. Lift his backpack up, and then you want to have the handle facing in, and you want to have this groove here between the textured panels to face towards the tire, or no, towards this pin hinge here, and you can just drop his swords down in here in between, and that hold on a second, it went too far. I'm trying to show this off and now it's not working. Put it in there. And then we'll get the other one in, and it'll help straighten that one out. And I'll show you what it looks like after it's all in there. Okay, so you can see it, that the sword is sitting with that little notch right on there, and then the handles are sitting right up in there. So you can have his sword stored in his back if you don't care about that being positioned that way, which will kill the waist articulation, which I didn't really care about. He's just going to kind of stand here. And you can have his weapons stored. So I'm going to leave him like that for now. And we'll go ahead and get into some size comparisons. Alrighty, for comparison, we've got the Rubik's Cube. Go ahead and lower this so that way it's in frame with him. Rubik's Cube. Gormagala statue. our masterpiece Bumblebee Bug from the film series. So he's tall to medium Voyager. And then last Voyager review I did is Masterpiece Dinobot. I'm going to go ahead and pause the filming for a second. I want to transform Inferno so you can see them next to each other, because he's going to be gone before I shoot Inferno's review. So we'll go ahead and add that to this one. Alrighty, I transformed Inferno real quick. So there he is next to Inferno. And considering how much bigger of a fire truck he was, he's not too much taller than Inferno is. So you can see that a lot of that mass of the fire truck he's got a little bit in his legs. They're a little wide at the bottom, but for the most part, it packs up pretty good. And we'll get Inferno out of here. And then I'll go ahead and I'll pop his weapons out and I'll show them off in his hand, so that way you guys can see it. So we've got the bottom sword. It'll go like this. We've got the top sword. It'll go like that. And there he is with his sword. Doesn't really look right without his shield to go along with it, but there he is. He's got his sword. Excuse me. There is an upgrade kit for this guy that DNA Design did. And there's also a KO upscale. It's like even bigger than my Dragoon Skybreaker Bayop figures. And I'm thinking that if I can, I might get that, which is why I'm not too beat up about selling this thing. But is this thing worth your time? Definitely. My friend John did a really good customized paint job on one of these, but he unfortunately broke a couple of parts here, so I told him to keep that one as like a model that he painted, because it still looks good as a robot, and then he can take this one and just play with it if he wants to. So all this guy really needed was more paint, and he's perfectly serviceable as a Sentinel. He's definitely better than the original Voyager, and I'd say, given his size class, he's pretty much on par with the leader. It does weapon storage and vehicle mode better, and the sword looks better, and he's got a shield. But this guy, the chest is fake, but the proportions are better because it is fake. So if fake parts fixes proportion issues, I'm all for fake parts if you can't see the real ones and they're behind it and you can't really see them. So there's my stance on fake parts, if I haven't said it already. That's about it. I got this review out before I send them off, and I'll see you Friday for Inferno. And this might be my last Wednesday review. I don't know. I'm thinking this is going to be out the 24th, because I'm filming this all the way back on, I think, the 10th or the 11th. And then Thanksgiving's what, the 25th? Maybe I'll do a Masterpiece review that day, so you get 2 in a row. But we'll see what happens. You'll know, because it'll come out, obviously. I have no clue what's going to happen, because I haven't planned that far ahead. I just had stuff in the way. And so when I decided to film him, I had to push it back after everything else that was already in the way. But I'll see you guys in the next video. If you like the video, like it. If you like the content, subscribe. If you want to make suggestions or the video helped you or anything like that, go ahead and comment. The playlist listed will be the Studio Series one, and my Twitter is in the description as well, because I will upload when I'm going to post a video. I'll upload the day before an image. So if you are subscribed and you follow me on Twitter, if this guy is going to be followed up by a Masterpiece, you'll know the day this review comes out, because there'll be a picture out of the Masterpiece coming the next day. That's it. I will see you guys next time.